All right, today we are pulling back the curtain on the supply chain. We're going to follow one single shipment, from the very beginning to the very end, to figure out what a freight broker actually does. And you'll see why this job is so much more than just playing matchmaker. So, what does a freight broker really do all day? You probably think, oh, they just connect a company with a truck that has some empty space. But honestly, that's barely scratching the surface. The real job is way more complex and, frankly, a lot more interesting. And here's the absolute key. A great freight broker isn't just a matchmaker. No, they are a manager of risk and a manager of information. Every single step we're about to walk through, from the first email to the final payment, is all about controlling the chaos and stopping problems before they even start. That's the big idea for today. So, where does a pro broker's day even begin? Well, if you think it's some frantic search for new shipments to book, you'd be wrong. A real professional's day starts with something way more important: managing the business they already have on the books. Yep, before any new business gets touched, a pro opens up their email, opens their tracking system, and they review every single open load. They're basically on a mission, hunting for shipments that have delivered but aren't totally closed out yet. They're looking for that missing paperwork that could completely jam up their cash flow. And the number one most important piece of paper they are looking for is the POD. That stands for proof of delivery. It's basically the signed receipt from the warehouse confirming the goods showed up safe and sound. It might just look like a piece of paper, but in this business, it's not just important, it is everything. And this is why that morning routine is so critical. If you don't have that signed POD, you can't send an invoice to your customer. And if you can't send an invoice, well, you can't get paid. It is the absolute number one rule of cash flow and freight. Forgetting this is like the classic rookie mistake. Okay, so yesterday's business is all squared away. Now the day can really begin. An email pings in from a shipper. It's a new load, a new opportunity. And this is where our story really kicks off. And here it is, the main character of our story, a standard dry van, 42,000 pounds, picking up in Southern California and heading over to Phoenix. Looks pretty straightforward, right? So here's the question. Do we have enough info to just jump on the load boards and start trying to find a truck? An amateur would say, yup, and dive right in. But a pro? A pro knows better. Whoa, not so fast. A professional looks at this and immediately sees all the holes, all the missing information. They know that posting this load right now isn't just lazy, it's a recipe for disaster. We're talking arguments, delays, and surprise charges down the road. This is the pro's mental checklist. They're firing back an email asking, is this a hard appointment time or first come, first serve? Is the driver going to have to wait around for a live load, or is it an easy drop-in hook? Are there any hidden lumper fees for unloading? Getting these answers now avoids so many headaches later. And of course, the big one, what's the shipper willing to pay? All right, now we're talking. All the details are confirmed, the price is agreed on, now it's time to find a truck. The broker switches gears from detective work to actually making the match. The hunt is on. So the broker posts the load on a major platform like DAT, and you'll see it's written in this kind of industry shorthand. DV is for dry van, 1P, 1D means one pickup and one delivery, and the rate is $1,350 all in, which means it includes fuel and everything. This isn't just jargon, it's the language of the business. Okay, the post is up, and the phone starts ringing. Dispatchers are calling, they want the load, and this brings us to what the source material calls the single most critical step in this whole process, the one spot where beginners fail, and fail badly: carrier verification. See, a pro doesn't just take the first person who calls. They run a very disciplined three-step check. First, they look at the carrier's profile right there on the load board. Second, they go to the official government source, the FMCSA Safer website, to make sure the carrier's authority to even operate is active. And third, they get the certificate of insurance, the COI, to make sure the cargo coverage is real and up to date. And here is a huge, critical warning. A carrier's own website is not a valid place to verify them. It's just too easy to fake. A professional only trusts the official government databases and direct contact with the insurance company. This isn't just about ticking boxes, it's about protecting their customers' valuable freight from scams. So once a carrier passes all those checks, the broker sends over the rate confirmation. Think of this as the contract for this one specific load. It spells out the pay, the route, all the rules. And the golden rule here is simple. If it's not in writing on this document, it basically doesn't exist. With that contract signed, the driver gets dispatched to the shipper. The freight is officially in motion. This last phase is all about execution, communication, and, as you're about to see, getting your hands on that all-important piece of paper. And so the journey begins. The driver gets loaded and sends the broker a copy of the bill of lading, the BOL, as proof they actually picked up the freight. While that truck is rolling down the I-10 to Phoenix, the broker is the communications hub, giving the shipper updates so they always know where their stuff is. And finally, the truck arrives. But listen, the job is not done just because the truck is at the warehouse. The most critical step is still to come, and it all comes back to that one document we talked about. Because if you have no POD, that means you have no invoice. You literally cannot bill your customer for the work that's been done. The whole financial process just grinds to a halt. Which, of course, means no payment. Not for the broker and not for the carrier who did all the work. This simple three-step reality. No POD means no invoice means no payment. That is the single most important lesson in the entire business of freight brokerage. And that brings us right back to where we started. The entire day, from that disciplined morning checkup to chasing down that POD at the very end, it all proves this one central point. A freight broker isn't just some middleman. A great broker is a master of information and a professional manager of risk. So, now that you've seen the entire life of a single shipment, I have a question for you. Where in this whole process do you think the biggest risk is hiding? Is it in getting the price wrong at the start? Is it in that carrier verification step? Or is it in that final chase for the paperwork? Your answer to that really tells you what this job is all about.